31st season of the world's most prestigious open-wheel development series came to the green flag for the final race of 2004. The tradition of the Toyota Atlantic Championship had been truly upheld. A year-long battle had come down to 2 drivers, 5 points, and one last chance to settle things. Both John Fogerty and Ryan DL knew what could be if only things went their way. In the end, it was to prove to be Fogerty's day, as he took not only the checkered flag, but the coveted championship, his second in 3 years. Today, for the 32nd time, a new class for the doctorate program in speed commences what they hope will prove to be a trip to the big time, and they need only look to past graduates for inspiration. There was, for instance, Jacques Villeneuve, whose father Gilles was also an Atlantic competitor. Within 2 years of racing in the Atlantics, Villeneuve had won the Indianapolis 500 and the 1995 Champ Car World Series. Just last year, the Indy 500 was won by another Atlantic graduate as 2000 Series champion Buddy Rice became the first American since '98 to cross that ribbon of brick first. Glance through the record book of this august series and you'll see the names of some of the best known, most successful open-wheel racers in history. And it's that tradition that calls to those who aspire to the major leagues of motorsports. And it's why this afternoon we may just get to meet a future Champ Car or Formula One champion. Welcome to Long Beach, California, and the 21st time the Atlantics have visited this storied temporary street circuit. And just to make the point one more time, take a look at some of the past Atlantic winners here. Clearly, this series has hosted some pretty familiar names, past and present, over its distinguished history. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Kramer, and along with expert commentator Jan Bigas and past Atlantic champion Brian Till in the pits, I can't wait to start this season of Atlantic action. And as always, the best way to do that is to get you right to the starting lineup, so let's go there right now. On the front row, it's all rookies. Antoine Bessette, a Quebecois superstar in the making, and reigning BMW champion Andreas Merckx. In row number 2, a Brazilian up-and-comer, Fernando Reis, and an ALMS superstar in his own right, Chris Dyson. In row 3, the most experienced driver here in the C2 pole qualifier, Rocky Moran Jr., and last year's revelation, Tonys Kazmats. In row 4, Katherine Legge and Kyle Kelly, both rookies. Katherine very quick, but she was welcome to Long Beach.
Second round qualifying, Katherine Legge on a hot lap, new tires, ducks inside a slower car, not enough room. Next stop, concrete wall. Well, the good news is the car was repairable, but unfortunately the grid position is not. I know that this promising young rookie really wanted to have a shot at the pole position. He didn't get it, but it's a long race.
Yeah, absolutely. We were fast enough for pole. We've got a brilliant car. And I made life slightly more difficult for myself, but as I said before, it is a long race, and we'll see how we get on.
And picking up row 5, Dan Selznick and Tom Nastasi has pulled off behind the wall there, so you can see that blue and white car, so Nastasi in trouble right from the get-go. We move now to row number 6, and a good driver coming there is Justin Sofio and Dan Cobb. Then in row 7, Lee Atkins and Bob Siska. Row 8 is Mark Ishikawa, welcoming him back to the Atlantic ranks, and Roby Fiesel. In row number 9, Ben Johnston and Brian McAtee. And all alone in row 10, the guy who was actually fastest in qualifying, but also ran into some problems as well.
This part is the difference between starting on the pole position and the back of the pack this weekend. It's called a strake. It goes underneath. 2 years ago, you could run them on these cars, but no longer. The team was unaware. For Charles Oldsman, a very promising young rookie. You were so excited to have the pole position. Now the challenge for starting from the back.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big challenge. And I'm up for it, I think. You know, we have the speed, and it's going to be an exciting race.
I certainly think he's up for it. He does have the speed and also a great demeanor in face of that development. I think a very calm young man there. Let's get it down to Brian Till.
Greg, another calm driver is Rocky Moran Jr., really the only driver in this field who's ever won a Toyota Atlantic Championship event. They had electrical problems all throughout practice and qualifying. They think they found the magic bullet to fix that, just a plug that they needed to work on. They think they've got that sorted out. The car was good in warm-up. Jan?
And Rocky Moran, of course, will be working around 11 turns, a little less than 2 miles. The place to watch, of course, is coming off turn 11, under 30 miles an hour, up to 150, down to turn number 1.
And you saw one of our in-cars with Rocky Moran will also be on board with Katherine Legge as she starts in the 7th spot onto the front straight, and we are looking for the start. The 21st time here, the Roar by the Shore at Long Beach. We are green. The 2005 Atlantic Championship is underway. Big move there by Chris Dyson as we hop on board with Rocky Moran. And Jan, the whole thing here, if you're back in the pack, is surviving, and there's contact. Big contact there. Looked like Fernando Reis, and that may well have been his teammate that went down the runoff with him as you hop on board with Katherine Legge briefly. There is your leader taking advantage of that pole, Bessette.
Wow. That was a much better resolution to what looked like was going to be a really bad set of contact in turn number 1. We certainly lost a yellow car off the outside, but amazing we didn't have more cars tangled up, and now thankfully all single file. The center of the screen, the yellow car goes up is probably Fernando Reis because his teammate, I believe, was on the outside. Or is that Kazimit's? Kazimit's car is a little brighter yellow. And I think, in fact, it's Kazimit's that heads down the escape road.
Absolutely right. That was Kazimit's, one of the 2 cars that made the run. And there's number 10, Fernando Reis. So it was Andres Vert was the other car that was involved in that. As you said, those 3 cars, very similar in paint scheme. On board, Katherine Legge tucked right in behind Chris Dyson here. And obviously, all of that involvement up front helped a couple of these drivers with problems in qualifying. Look at the lead Bessette has built already. There's Bessette, the orange car, who's gone. Then it's Fernando Reis. Dyson looking in, looking out, and Reis doing the bob and weave to protect just a little bit. Katherine Legge up to 4th as we hop on board with her. Then Rocky Moran Jr. in that C2 category car. We'll explain that just a little bit. Has already jumped up and sits in that 5th spot, right where he qualified. So he was able to avoid all of that action and stay clean.
Of course, there were still yellow flags down there in turn number 1, so there would not have been any passing. Just saw a bit of weaving around the bumps. For Katherine, she's got to be thrilled she got through that first turn. She did get pretty nervous after that contact that she had in qualifying. Now trying to get back up to speed with Rocky Moran right on her.
Oh, Moran takes a look down the inside, and Katherine Legge aggressively shuts the door. Ooh, missed the apex a little bit there as a result. And again, Moran pops out, and I think she had to check up when she ran wide of that apex shot. Look at this counter punch move, though. Late on the brakes.
Whoa!
Oh!
Moran's back in the lead again.
Great cut and thrust racing.
That's the give and take of street course racing. If you have to give something up to try and make a move, you're going to give it up sometimes on the exit of the corner.
Now, we talked a little bit about Rocky Moran being the top qualifier in the C2 category. Explain that a little bit.
Well, the C2 category is if you want to run one of these cars in amateur competition. This way you can come and run C2, and you do not have to, therefore, change the car. So regulation's a little different. Car's a little heavier, maybe a little more power. They even out pretty well.
And thus it allows the C2 competitors we're seeing in the hands of a very talented driver with Rocky Moran be very competitive. But out front, Antoine Bessette quickly opening up a major lead. Coverage of the opening round of the 32nd season of the Toyota Atlantic Championship is being brought to you by Toyota. Moving forward, we invite you to visit the Toyota Atlantic Championship website at www.toyotaatlantic.com. Welcome back to Long Beach as we are on board with Katherine Legge as she now sits in the 5th spot. That's Rocky Moran just in front of her, working that great battle. And Moran, once he got by here, has been able to close up just a little bit on Chris Dyson in front. There is the leader right now, Antoine Bessette. His margin about 2.5 seconds with all the action involving behind him. Boy, it was a gift for him.
It was. I mean, that's what you want to do. You want to try and get through the first corner clean, and then you just don't look in the mirror. You just totally focus on what's ahead and see if you can get a string of laps and try and pull out some sort of a gap.
And he's really a rarity at this form of racing in that when he started racing, it wasn't karts. It was sedans and did a little rallying and then decided he wanted to try open wheel racing. And man, he has proved to be a missile right from the get-go.
He does have some street course experience. He's raced 3 different places, Trois-Rivières, Toronto. And so he is accustomed to these walls and says he loves the walls. Bring them on. I like running in between.
Speaking of bringing them on, Rocky Moran is just flying towards the front. There's Rocky just going out of frame. The guy right behind him in that blue and white car is Dyson, who was in that third spot, now occupied by this driver right here, Rocky Moran, and Katherine Legge right back working with Dyson right now in a great scrap for fourth as we hop on board with Rocky Moran. And they were really frustrated with that electrical problem, and they still were able to qualify fifth. Rocky's so quick, so experienced, but without a doubt, he is putting on a great run right now. Brian Tilt charging through the pack.
Definitely charging through the pack. Bill Fickling, the team owner for Rocky Moran. Obviously a lot of experience Rocky has, but it looks like you guys put the car underneath him. You found the fix.
Yeah, finally. It's a shame we missed our qualifying sessions with the misfire, which really hurt our setup. But it's right now. He's just got to be patient. He's picking them off. He's up to third now, so we feel there's going to be quite a few yellows in this race, so we're trying not to overdo it too quick.
Do you have a car to get to the front?
Definitely, yeah.
Keep your eyes on him, guys. He's going that way.
Funny street course strategy whenever you hear about it is always we think there's going to be some yellows, and Rocky, though not exactly sitting back there, he's quickly closing in on a very talented driver from Brazil and Fernando Reis.
Yes, Fernando obviously is still getting acclimated to the street circuits. Rocky Moran is not. Again, we need to remind you that the car that Rocky Moran is driving is a little bit heavier, not exactly the same regulations, but they should be fairly close in performance. Now, talking about Bill Fickling and P1 Racing, and we're talking about Rocky Moran, they brought in Tim Lewis. Now, if you follow this series, he's the engineer for John Fogerty, who obviously won the championship last year. He's working on Rocky Moran's car.
He's got some skills.
Oh, he does. You know what? But you know what his payment is? All he asked for, because he's buddies with Rocky, buy me a steak at Donovan's, and I'll be with you for the whole weekend. So he's earned his meat right here.
Well, that's perfect. And Rocky Hudson. Now, the interesting thing, you talked about the weight of the C2 car. Rocky's about twice the size of Fernando Reis, too. Fernando is a very, very slight person, and power to weight's important. But, boy, Rocky closing right up in the braking zone here, turn one. Not quite close enough there, but he definitely now is glommed onto the back. And as they exit that turn, he stayed there, so he made up some ground under braking.
And Rocky's car, yes, it's maybe 75 pounds heavier, but they are not required to have the same shock regulations. In other words, in the championship cars, everyone has to use the same shock absorber, same valving. It is free for Rocky Moran's cases, so is the engine builder as well. So that's why they're carrying a little extra weight, because they give them freedom so they can bring a car from amateur competition here and give the guys an opportunity to run. Of course, this car didn't come from amateur competition. It was a pro car previously.
Rocky Moran Hustling, you mentioned P1, also one of the owners of that team, Milwaukee Brewer, was baseball superstar Robin Yount. Talked to Robin and he said, I said, I haven't seen you much. He goes, because I've actually been doing some baseball stuff. He goes, but I had to come back because I was missing the racing too much. So good to have Robin back in the pits and paddock area. And again, Rocky Moran now very close behind Fernando Reis. Most important turn on the track. We talk about the exciting areas in 1 and in 6 and 5 and 6 and 9, but this is the key turn, isn't it?
It is. You actually get under 30 miles an hour. The slowest speed there is 27 miles an hour, and then you want to get a jump. Now, Rocky is close enough to get a draft here. He could make a move.
Watch this. Moran tucks in. Reis squeezes him a little bit. Rocky says, thank you. No, there's enough room. And Rocky Moran, assuming he makes the exit here and does cleanly, has picked up yet another spot. And this very talented driver, 2 career wins in the Atlantic category in the championship division as well, finds himself second place right now and easily in the lead in the C2 category. We are early in the going here in the 21st running of the Toyota Atlantic Championship at Long Beach. Prefer 2 wheels to 4? Well, pull over for some motorcycle action with Michelle Smith and American Thunder. American Thunder, Tuesday nights at 8, only on Speed. Quick onboard shot there with Katherine Legge, who still sits now in that 4th spot and having a good run. Has lost a little bit of touch with the group up front. Just a couple of seconds behind Fernando Reis. You can just barely see him up there, but she's got him in sight. That often is just a great motivator.
It is, and she certainly this weekend has been performing nearly flawlessly, other than the slight brush with the wall there, I suppose you might say. And really comes here with a lot of high hopes and obviously a lot of emphasis, a lot of media, and I think she's handling quite well for her first go.
Meanwhile, Antoine Bessette out front, just doing a stellar job in that unique auto design Swift, just continues to build on that advantage. So clearly didn't all happen as a result of what happened at the start of the race and the contact and the fighting. He is throwing down some very quick laps right now.
course, he's teammates to Katherine, and they have the opportunity to share setups that both went well in testing. He's a guy who just has had confidence all weekend. Just pretty much been relaxed. He's sort of a relaxed young guy. And it's amazing to me how relaxed these young guys are. I remember, you know, in my days, you were like nervous as a cat on a tin roof, I guess, as they say. But these guys are so laid back and have so much confidence, and it shows.
Well, some of that you would think would be because some of them have been racing for 15 years in karts, but not him. That makes it all the more compelling, I think, what he's doing here, and certainly would be indicative that this guy's got the gift. And we're finally seeing it truly played out here. Just do an exceptional job. And look at this. There's number 11, Charles Zolzman, who is scything through the field, really. Remember, started dead last, but he was quickest in qualifying, but ran into that little technical problem. And he's taking a run here, Kyle Kelly, and this would be the battle for 6th spot. And he's trying it the hard way around the outside, but that off time, he just nicked the banner on the barrier, but didn't even take it off. There's some bravado.
Yeah, on the outside of turn number 1. Wow, I thought he was tire bound there. That was a nice job of threading the needle.
You saw him skating just a little bit. Somewhat reminiscent of Valiente's pass here a few years ago for the lead. That was a great move. But Charles said, I think I'm up for this challenge, and he's proving it right now. Formula 3 Euro Series driver the past couple of seasons, and comes to the States here. And again, one of those guys that just very calm in the face of adversity and doing a tremendous job. And then an outside pass through turn 1. Yeah, buddy.
Wow. It's amazing to me. He missed a year and a half of competition. He caught a really nasty virus, ended up in the hospital for 6 months, and lost a year and a half, and has just only recently gotten back on speed, and he's come back fast.
Out of the Netherlands and doing a great job. Meanwhile, we go back to this battle, which is now for 3rd on board with Katherine Legge, and she is closed up markedly on Fernando Reis right in front of her. And the interesting thing with Legge's program is it's in part supported by PKV Racing in the Champ Car division. So again, we're seeing those little feeder systems working very well. And one thing, Katherine, even with her contact in that qualifying session, watching her in the warm-up this morning and now, still going right up to those walls. I mean, she knows what you have to do here to be successful.
Oh, she is aggressive. I was speaking with her father this morning. He told me the story how they went on a vacation to Spain, and they went to a karting track, and that was her first time in a kart, and she just took to it and loved it, and as they say, the rest is history. And you can see some of that karting in the way she drives. She's aggressive and likes to use all the road and turns quickly with the steering wheel.
Well, that first qualifying session on Friday, she was 3rd, 2/10 off pole, and she was not happy. And you knew right then and there, all right, she's a competitor. She's done some great stuff in Britain in British Formula 3 and Formula Renault, and she also did some U.S. Formula Renault action here. But I'll tell you, a huge field. I mean, well over 2/3 of this field are rookies. Most of them never seen Long Beach except maybe on TV. And Katherine Legge running very hard up underneath Fernando Reis. And Reis has been good, Brian, but he's got a lot of pressure.
Indeed, he does have pressure. John Brooks has pressure too, running 2 great drivers. Andreas Wirth, you have to be pleased with the job he did. And now Fernando Reis, but Katherine is bringing the pressure to him.
Yeah, Katherine's coming on hard right now, but Fernando's doing a really good job for a young man new to our series, new to our country and all. We're so proud of the job he's doing. Andreas did a fabulous job all weekend. We're so disappointed he didn't make it past the first corner. Both these drivers will be around this year, will be on the podium. Well, that'll be really exciting.
I think they'll definitely be on the podium. John Brooks, 2 good hired guns in his cars this year. You have to keep on an eye on him, Greg.
Absolutely, and Wirth, a great story as well. We've got yellow flags in this area, so Katherine had to back off the charge just a little bit. But she took a run going into turn 1 last lap, got a great launch off of the hairpin. So she's tested that water once. Problem is Reis is being plenty aggressive, and defending that inside line makes it tough.
And he can defend that line. He can go ahead and choose to take the left-hand line approach into turn number 1. He just cannot move in response. In other words, if she ducked in and then he moved, he'd be in trouble. But he is entitled to taking that defensive line.
All right, they take that right-hander down at the end of the long backstretch, turn 9, the quick transition. Can't even get all the way over to the other side of the track to set up for 10. And then get ready. Here is that key launch. And boy, she runs it right to the wall, and it gives her a good amount of exit speed. Reis got out of there pretty well this time, but she's close. She's close enough to pick the toe up.
Absolutely, this could be the one.
Now he is last lap. He moved way over, and here she goes again. What's the matter if she got there sooner? Deep braking here, and Reis stays in zone. They touch. Reis goes airborne. And Legge, boy, she may have gotten away with it. I don't see a wrinkle in that left front suspension on the A-arms. And Reese looks like he is dead stick, may have just stalled it.
We saw Zolzman go around the outside, and you and I said how hard that is to do, especially when you have a Fernando Reese fighting back at you. It's a case where she had to turn at some stage. You got to turn into the corner, and he's obviously braking as late as he possibly can to keep her from taking the position.
It almost looked like he braked. He was past turn in before he got
right
there.
About here, you've got to turn in. You've got to do something. And unfortunately, I mean, if she hadn't turned at that stage, she could go straight down the escape road, and we'll have to see if the car's damaged.
So there is number 10, Fernando Reese, and we have a full course caution as where he sits is definitely in a fairly serious impact area. So we are under yellow here at Long Beach. 11 laps completed the 32 here in our 2005 season opener. Welcome back to Long Beach, California. And that's a bit of a dejected driver right there. That is Fernando Reese, the young Brazilian with so much potential, so much speed, and now so much time on his hands. And here is why. And you thought, Jan, that maybe Katherine could have done something and made a pass here.
Well, what I'm saying is that at some stage she had to turn into the corner. Fernando Reese was defending his position, obviously, very aggressively. If she would have thought of it sooner, she might have been able to really get on the binders and let him actually slide by and duck underneath him. But, I mean, that's easy to say after the fact.
Oh, sure. Well, he was way deep into that corner before he turned. Meanwhile, back to green, and again, Bissett makes a big launch here, and Rocky Moran continuing the run as well. Hop on board now. That's Katherine Legge looking back. Sitting in the third spot right now is Katherine, and a lot of cut and thrust back here. And that right there, that's Legge Dyson working up through some traffic. Boy, this is very close here, and obviously this section back in here, the narrowest part of the track, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and some of these corners back here, and that's tough to do. What happened was when this full course caution came out, there were quite a few lap cars right in the middle of this serial. That's why our leader had an opportunity to really get a good restart. And for Katherine here and some of these other drivers, they really need to immediately make sure they get the cars a lap down behind them so they can get back to the battle.
Number 48, the car first in that bunch we're looking at is Lee Atkins, who's running in the C2 category. Very talented driver, excited to be part of this program. Right behind him is Dyson. And then one of the cars right behind them is number 11, Charles Zolzman, who has had a tremendous run up from dead last. Meanwhile, we have another full course caution that has just come out very abruptly, so we didn't see what may have caused it, but suddenly we are back under full course caution here at Long Beach.
And that's why I said you had to be so quick to get by the lap cars. It's probably Kyle Kelly. You notice it's the same colors. It was Danica Patrick's car from last year. And he actually had a great qualifying run and was open for a good run today.
Well, that has gone away, and so will we for just a minute here at Long Beach. That's the order, top 5. Coverage of the opening round of the 32nd season of the Toyota Atlantic Championship is being brought to you by Yokohama Tires. Welcome back, everybody. We continue under caution here just past halfway in the season opener of the 2005 Toyota Atlantic Championship. Let's get down to Brian Till.
Jim Griffith, one of the principals at Polestar that runs Antoine Bissett and Katherine Legge. And Jim, a lot of people that maybe thought Katherine was maybe a little bit timid. She's not timid. We saw that.
Oh, no, she's not timid. She's ready to get after it right now.
Well, and the green flag's coming out. They will be getting after it, Greg.
Well, she's taken a great run, got a great run on Rocky Moran, and just drives by him on the outside, heading down short line. Now protects a little bit going into turn 1. That was a great restart for Katherine. Oh, back end swings around, but no room for Rocky to be able to do anything here. That was a great move by Katherine.
Well, the reason she motored by was first she got a draft on Rocky Moran, then she moved over and picked up the tow from her teammate who was in the lead. So she did not have to have the same type of confrontation that she had earlier in turn number 1. This time, aerodynamics just sucked her right up to the front.
So she sits second to her teammate, and that guy that Brian just interviewed, one of the reasons this team's so successful, is Jim Griffith. And let's check in with Brian again.
Greg, I did talk to Jim Griffith about Katherine's car. We saw the contact she had earlier. Katherine has said the car is damaged a little bit, but it is drivable, and I would say it's drivable after that move. Very impressive indeed.
Absolutely. As we go back on board, now behind her is Dyson and Zolzman are having a great scrap. You see them right there. That's Dyson, and then the number 11 of the young Dutchman, Zolzman. Very impressive, coming from absolutely dead last. And in a car, when you take those strakes out, it affects how that car sticks, how it handles. It was a bit of a guess at the setup that they threw on that thing, and he's been driving the wheels off it.
But I think the important thing is that just shows that they were not trying to get an advantage. It was just a team not knowing that they couldn't run them any longer. So it's good that he's up there running with the kind of speed that he showed in qualifying.
I talked to team owner Carlos Bobeda on the way down to the pits today, and he said, you know, the last time we ran, it wasn't optional. You had to run the strakes. It was part of the deal. He said, and it was our fault. He said, we didn't check enough, and that was the problem. And boy, you know, Antoine Bissett, he may have been the fast guy early, but Katherine Legge is not letting him get away at all right now.
I'm just surprised. I mean, these cars, you could run them hard for the entire race. It's not like he used it up in the early stint. I think that both for Katherine Legge and for Rocky Moran, they've raised the game. It's something, remember how he said earlier, psychologically what you do is you never look behind, you look forward. My guess is they're close enough now that Bissett is looking in the mirrors.
Well, and I'm watching Katherine, and she is throwing that car around this track. There's been 2-3 turns just in that sequence while we were chatting here. The back end was stepping out, and she was just gassing it, and Rocky Moran has stuck right with him. And in fact, those three now driving away a little bit from the Dyson-Zolzman battle, perhaps not a surprise.
This is going to be a great battle, the three of them. I mean, that's what you want at Long Beach. You want some cars that are close enough together to use the draft at the end of the straightaway, but you have to get off the corner well to do so. This is exactly the right positioning that you want. And some laps you'll be close enough to pick up a little bit of a draft. Some laps you won't. I think Katherine's going to need to be closer than this to pull it off.
And this is where that little bit of an adjustment in terms of the weight on Moran's C2 car will hurt him. It's the launch off of that hairpin. And Zolzman has been able to sneak by Dyson and has now moved up to fourth. So the charge from the back by this very talented young driver continues to impress as we go back on board with second place Katherine Legge. But as I was saying, Moran, acceleration when you're talking about 250 horsepower cars, weight becomes a huge issue.
Sure, 75 pounds is still 75 pounds. And I can tell you that the reason these cars are faster at the end of the race is because they burn off the fuel, and that's about as much fuel as you would burn off on these cars. So therefore, you know, it's like he's still got a full tank of fuel when the others are getting lighter.
So Rocky doing an absolutely incredible job. And one of the things that is of note when you look at the onboard shot from Rocky's car, there's no electronic pie display trick data thing on the dash. That is the old style gauge dash, and he's just driving this car. It's great to see. Working into the hairpin. Boy, he closes up a little bit, floats a little wide there, and you can see Katherine Legge, great launch off of the hairpin. She continues to run in second spot to her teammate, Antoine Bissett.
Kevin's really proud of me. The team did such a fantastic job. Polestar, the championship, wow, yeah, I'm blown away.
After the contact in turn 1, how was the car for the rest of the race?
Yeah, I had a bit of damage on the car. I think that was a bit of a silly manoeuvre, but he knew that I was quicker than him. Thanks, Vicky. Yeah, no, I'm dead chuffed. Don't know what to say.
I think she said it, guys, when she said, I don't think it's sunk in yet. Trust me, tonight it will. Greg?
Oh, what an unbelievable performance. And you saw her hugging Kalkoven there. That's the K in that team, and V is Vassar. I mean, that Champ Car team, they've put together this program with Polestar, and they're already, I think, starting to see some serious potential for the future. Let's take a look at our results right now. And obviously, it's going to be led by Katherine Legge. Just an incredible run. Just a great drive to the win. Bissett, a sweep for Polestar. Then Zolzman, maybe the drive of the race. Ultimately, Chris Dyson, a great run for him. In 5th, your C2 winner, Justin Sofio, a mechanic for Binder Racing. He won it last year and asked to do it again in C2 and does it again. Cobb, and just a great drive there. Here's 11th through 19th in the field. And the unfortunate thing, you see Tony Skazimets, who was so quick early, had problems. Andres Vert, Nastasi, and Johnson never even getting to the green flag. But such is the nature of racing. And Brian, let's get downstairs once again. What's happening in the victory circle?
Greg, another Polestar pilot. 2nd place, Antoine Bissett. Fantastic drive for you. And I guess if you're going to finish second, you're going to finish second to your teammate. That would be the only way to do it.
Yeah. So for Katherine, I'm very happy for her because we work a lot together to go in the front. And for sure, I wish it would be me in the front and her second. But I'm very happy for the result of the race.
Well, the smiles on his face tell it all, guys. A big celebration in the Polestar camp tonight, I'm telling you.
I would think so. They certainly have earned it. I mean, he was quickest all day on Friday. On Saturday, Zolzman had some very strong runs. But I'll tell you what, this team, very, very solid without any doubt at all. Brian?
Well, Charles Zolzman.
Tell you what, here's the schedule for our upcoming races. Next one coming at Monterrey, Mexico. That is May 28th, 2 p.m. Eastern time here in Speed. So don't miss that or any of the races in this great championship. Once again, sorry, Brian.
Well, Charles, the disappointment of the pole is probably a long way away after that great drive. Congratulations on a 3rd.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was fantastic. I had to overtake a lot of cars today, and the cautions helped me to get close to the front group. And I had some luck with some guys falling out, but it was a great run.
It was a great win. If the rest of the season is going to be like this, Greg, I'm not going to miss a race.
Oh, we're in it for the get-go. And I'll tell you what, not only the great drive of the race, but that squeeze play between the wall and Cobb, that was magic. Here's a look at when the next race will happen. And for Jan Bigas and Brian Till, I'm Greg Kramer. Thanks for joining us today. And make sure you tune in all season long for what will be a remarkable season here in the Atlantics. Until then, take care, everybody.